Only last week we heard that our previous chairman, Mr. Ken Bowman, had sadly passed away. We knew he'd not been very well for quite a while, and he sat down as chairman at Cromford a couple of years ago, but he still did carry on as our president, and he was president right up till the day he died. Ken came to Cromford at a difficult time in the mid-1990s, and it was around about the period of time where the lorry had just moved from Cromford, and it was a bit of an awkward time, but it pulled through, and along with Terry Mellor, Nigel Whitey and myself, we've all been here over 30 years each. I think Nigel's the longest, but gradually we've assembled a wonderful committee, all due to Ken Bowman. Ken was if the committee meeting was on a Tuesday night, and it usually was, and Derby County were playing at home, I'm afraid the meeting was cancelled. Ken was an avid Derby supporter. He's been a cracking football player in his younger life, and he treasured Derby County so much he had an actual box. I went down with him several times and met wonderful people like Dave Mackay and Roger Davis and quite a few of the big stars at Derby. It was a wonderful time at Cromford Steam Rally. But as time goes on, we all get older, and Ken sadly took ill, and he sadly deteriorated a couple of weeks ago and went into hospital, and sadly he didn't come home. I thought it relevant today to try and get as much of what we're all about, which is limited vehicles and predominantly steam engines. And I'm sure previous long-term committee members with Derek Root and one or two others, I'm sure you'll all be up there now having a good laugh and looking at us. And that's why the Salisbury and Wood lorry is in the arena, because that was Ken Bowman's company. It's a new lorry, and we wanted him to be in. Anybody taking photographs, we wanted Ken to be represented, and that's why that's here. Now moving on from that, many years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I got into restoring lorries that long ago, and a wonderful, sadly no longer friend of mine, Brian Thomas, and his brother Mick's here today. But with Brian, I got to know this wonderful gentleman who was our landlord, Mr. David Abbott. David was a laugh. He was absolutely brilliant. He made us welcome from the day we moved in. There was very little that we couldn't do. They allowed us to do anything. And one of the reasons we stayed here, there were 2 or 3 reasons, but one of the reasons was when it's dry and when it's like this, it's one of the best sights you can have in Derbyshire for a steam ride. Beautiful. The only trouble is when it's wet, it's about the worst you can get. And I think we've all experienced that. But David was always willing to let us change this. Can we move gates? Can we do drains? Can we do... He never said no. When we wanted to bring those stupid trailers in down there when the old barn fell down. Never said no. David, I got to know him very, very well. And I bought it. First time I met him, I'd come up here with my mate Brian to look at the Bedford lorry that was for sale for some money. I ended up buying the body off him to put on one of my lorries. And every time I came on, what we doing now then? What project we doing? It was a really, really big flow. Not only because it's Cromford's team rally, but I think each and every one of us, all in blue, really felt it when we heard of the sad loss of David. But I've got to say this, folks, I really have got to say this, and I mean it really deeply. I have been to some funerals in my lifetime. I've never been to one like David. I think his family should take so much credit for what they did. It was unbelievable. David said he didn't want to leave the farm. His father is knackered in him, he wanted to stay on the farm. So Graham, our chairman, over there, brought his JCB onto site and dug a hole. The day of the funeral at Ashfield, it absolutely shook it down the rain. But Graham again, got his old 35 fracture, and his family decorated an old trailer up. And it's unbelievable. His lads actually made his coffin out of some lovely timber he's got, and it wasn't a budget, it was an absolutely beautiful thing. And all his grandkids had drawn little pictures and stuck them all around his coffin. He took it to Ashover, a wonderful service. The music was unbelievable. He liked country music, and I think his grandsons either changed the words of a popular song, country and western song. It was out of this world. I've never ever been to a funeral like it. I don't think I'll ever go to another one. It's just fabulous. So, well done, guys, you did well. David was brought back here to the farm, and if any of you please don't go in, but in the little paddock up there beyond the commercials, down the big freezing down, you'll see a fenced off area, whole precipice, and that's where David likes to this day. I was up there the other night. So I'm sure David and Ken, between them, they'll be finding something wrong with telling him the truth. What the hell you doing with what you're about, slammering about something at the same. But I want all of you to do, every single steam engine, miniature and big, I want you to get on the footplate, and I want you to give the best you've ever done. So come on, I'll give you a few seconds to get sorted. Come on. I want you to be that loud that they'll be able to hear it. Just a minute, well, hang on, not all together one at once, all together, hang on. Are we ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3, come on! That way, bad weather. Come on, folks, put your hands together.